Mark, thank you so much for the time. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, thank you. Just getting started here, just rolled into the Omni and ready to get going.
I really appreciate you giving me a few minutes. I don't know if you heard of the old game that they used to play for the television show Friends, where it's like, which friend are you? But we do that with the Stoops brothers.
Okay.
And I always identify as Mark Stoops, so it's a real pleasure getting to talk to you right now.
Thanks, good to talk to you.
So there's expectations on this Kentucky program because you've done such a good job for a decade plus now. A lot of returning talent on defense, a little bit more uncertainty on offense. Let's start on the defensive side of the ball. What is it you love about this defense that is really star-studded at all three levels?
Well, I think just the experience, as you mentioned. You know, we have quite a few guys. You need to play a lot of players. You know, we all need the depth, and heck, even late last year, depth jumped up and bit us a little bit, like most people. But you got to be able to overcome it. But I feel like there's more depth. I feel like there's good experience. As you mentioned, there's playmakers at all three levels. It starts up front, and we have a special one in Deion Walker. I think he can really have a breakout year. He's going into his true junior year. He's a special player, difference maker. De'Eric Jackson's with me today at linebacker, got a lot of experience, played a lot. And we have a exceptional corner in Maxwell Harrison, but it's a good group. We have a lot of continuity there. Coach White's been with me for a while. The defensive staff is intact. And so we need to continue to grow and get better and compete at a higher level.
Offensively, talented at receiver, experienced at receiver. There's arguably talent everywhere. It's just guys don't have the reps necessarily. That includes at quarterback. You get a former 5-star transfer, a guy who's been in another really good program. But is it concerning at all to have somebody starting games for you who has taken such a long time off? There's such a fun debate in football about that.
Well, there's no question. I think it's very fair to point that out. And like, even as coaches, you feel really good about what you have and how they practice. And when I did watch him play at Georgia, now most of the time they were up a bunch of points, but he had an opportunity to take a lot of snaps. But you just look at the operation and how smooth and calm and collected he was. Obviously, he was coached exceptionally well at Georgia. And so you just looked at what he's done and the talent that he has and what he's done in a short period of time on campus in Lexington, and it makes me feel real good about it. I'm very confident in what he can do, but it's fair to say until they get out there and take those reps, what's going to happen.
All right, I got to ask you one more question. It's a nerdy football question, but man, that's secondary that you coached at Miami in 2001. Are you kidding me? Ed Reed starting in front of Sean Taylor. Just how silly was the talent for that secondary?
It was a bit ridiculous. I want to say I had 3 first-round picks that year, and they were backed up by 3 more first-round picks. So in one secondary, there were 6 first-round draft picks. And they went at different times because we replaced them. We replaced the Ed Reed group with Sean Taylor, Antrell Roll, and Kelly Jennings, and they all went out at different years. One went out after his true junior year, one went out after 4, and one went out after 5, but they were all first-round draft picks. So it was a unique group, and we added a few more after that as well. So, it was an embarrassment of riches with talent at that point in time, but we had a lot of fun. I tell you, people ask me about that group all the time and what they were like, and they were awesome to coach. I mean, just special. I just loved them because, very much self-motivated, worked exceptionally hard. There was a standard there, and, we had an awful lot of fun.
Ed Reed was a senior. Sean Taylor was a freshman. Did you see Ed imparting information on Sean, too, since Ed is such a technician?
You can't help it but watch, when you're in the meeting room and you watch, those guys and just see the way Ed went about his business. You can't help but be impressed by it, as a player and learn from it. And I'll tell you a funny story. Is after those guys left, so we had the 3 first-rounders leave. All 5 guys, including the nickel, left, went to the NFL, and we replaced them with all these young guys. And, I said in media beforehand that we'd be better, and they're like, oh, this is some young, brash, crazy coach that's cocky. And I'm like, no, well, first of all, we had all our D-line back, so I knew there'd be a great pass rush.
Yeah.
And we were replacing them with some really good talent that was the second year in our system. But that group, whenever I wanted to really piss them off, I would just tell them, hey, stop. Let's stop the meeting. Let's break out last year's tape and bring back and watch Ed and watch the other guys. And those guys would always get very, very motivated when I had to break out the old tape because they had such belief in themselves.
Oh man, love that. Thank you for sharing that. And really, thank you for the time today. I truly am a big fan of yours.
Appreciate it.
Even though I'm a Longhorn, I find myself rooting for Kentucky a lot. I don't think that's going to change now that we're in the conference.
Well, I'm so familiar with Texas, and with Bob being at Oklahoma, Mike being in Oklahoma for so many years, but I have such great respect for Texas. We're playing there. I've never been to that stadium. I know it's going to be brutally hard, just like a lot of these SEC stadiums. But Chris Del Conte and I go way back. Coach Sark and I go way back to competing each other in the West. We're both in the Pac-12, and so it'll be a very big challenge, but I'm looking forward to it, and it's a great addition to the league with Oklahoma and Texas.
Not going to rank the Stoops, but if we were, Mark would be number one in all of your hearts. Mark, thank you, man.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.